The film opens with 13-year-old deer tracker, Oskari, and his father, Tapio, taking a gander at the wall brimming with photo placements of a man as a deer tracker. Oskari picks one of the photo placements, that is his father as a tracker when he was teen. Some place in Finland, the Kimos Safaris helicopter conveying the psychological oppressor named Hazar. After they land the helicopter, the Kimos Safaris helicopter pilot understood that the men he conveying are the fear-based oppressors. Hazar told the helicopter pilot to quickly get away. Anyway, when the helicopter pilot is in around 1 mile distance, Hazar fires bazooka to him as a rocket test. Hazar sends his kindred fear-based oppressor an instant message that the rocket test was fruitful. In the mountains, Oskari steps through an examination of solidarity of pulling of a bowstring, notwithstanding, he neglected to arrive at its original capacity. The head of the deer hunting says that he won't prepare to be a deer tracker, however his dad declares that his child is prepared to be a tracker. The pioneer locations to his men about his valiance of being a tracker and inside the woods. Oskari drives his little farm hauler through the forest for hunting. In the meantime, on board in the Air Power 1, U.S. President William Allen Bill Moore is setting out toward pre-D8 highest point is Helsinki, 45 miles left. Out of nowhere, the control room gets a caution of a potential rocket shot down in their plane. Nonetheless, both plane and streamer companies couldn't countermeasure since somebody's sticking their control. The men immediately carried the president to a break case and it sends out securely. The remainder of the help specialists are dropping down from the plane, however Morris shoots a spy after inquisitively asked that there is an off-base thing to them, their parachute not conveying. Few moments after Morris dropping down, the rockets go by to him and hit the aviation-based Armed Forces 1. Oskari is driving his little farm truck in the forest when he sees the splendid light blazes overhead. With sickening dread, Oskari rapidly takes off from the splendid light, which is really the brought down flying Core 1 is ablaze. Its flotsam and jetsam nearly struck Oskari. Morris was arrived into the forest, ends up being swindler, he alarms the fear-based oppressor that the plane was down. Oskari then, at that point, sees a unit and dubiously weighs to deal with it. After drawing closer, Bill composes the blend, which is 1492, for opening the entryway, in the saturated window. After Oskari enters the blend, he rapidly takes off from it, accepting that the case came from other planet. Bill goes out and shouts to show himself. Oskari shows himself and dubiously points his bow to Bill. At the point when Bill lets him know that he is the leader of the US, Oskari demonstrates him by showing his identification. Oskari currently confides in him. Morris, Hazar and his men found the brake unit. As Hazar opens it, they view as unfilled. Charge needs to go to the closest town utilizing his little work vehicle, yet Oskari not permits Bill to drive himself in. All things being equal, Oskari drives and advises him to sit in the cart while they going to the put that is set apart by X on his guide. Bill and Oskari shows up in the spot and he calls it an ideal spot to chase. They will camp here the entire night until morning and they talk one another. The following morning, it's Oskari's birthday and time for him to chase. Bill abruptly awakens when he hears Oskari copying deer sounds. Oskari sees a shoe that is have a place with Bill. Oskari then, at that point, sees a cooler and when he opens it, inside is the dead deer and the note implanted in the bolt. The note says cheerful birthday from his father. Upon Bill moving through rocks, he sees his 3 dead men, turns out the link ties keeping the parachute from sending. Bill currently understands that Morris double-crossed him. After he recovered the weapon from a dead man, Bill sees Morris and his men and he takes cover behind the stone. Oskari is frustrated when his dad killed the deer for him as birthday. Oskari advised Bill that he isn't prepared to be a tracker. Bill then, at that point, puts an identification onto Oskari for safeguarding him, and it's an update for him. Bill understands that his plane isn't a mishap, it is killed and Morris and his men are there for hunting him. In the event that he is being pursued, he advised Oskari to head out in a different direction, yet Oskari stresses over his security. In practically no time, Morris approaches upon them. In the meantime, in the Pentagon base camp, they find the president and the fear-mongers who known by one of the president's secret assistance specialist, Herbert. All through, they're being followed for their well-being. The men powers Bill to get in the cooler. Nonetheless, Oskari regulates them and the president being placed in the cooler. The cooler was conveyed by the helicopter. Oskari figures out how to save the president. Oskari leaps off the bluff and hides away to the cooler. A pilot sees stowaway kid in the cooler, attempting to save the president. The helicopter drops its elevation to move the kid away from it. Oskari loses the cooler yet figure out how to pursue and he cut the rope, permitting it to get away. Oskari chooses to fold down the cooler into the bluff only minutes after Morris gets on the ground. They wound up in the center of the lake. Both Bill and Oskari imagine that they lost them. Presently, they found the disaster area site of aviation-based armed forces one close to them. In the Pentagon, they found the AF-1 crash site. Herbert gives the directions of the accident site to Hauser and gives an arrangement to him to kill the president. Bill and Oskari sees the squeaking sound coming from the rooftop. Out of nowhere, the unstable blown to the rooftop, permitting Hauser to penetrate the plane. Hauser then, at that point, initiates a bomb to 6 minutes left. The battle progress among Bill and Hauser. Hauser figure out how to choke Bill to death, yet Oskari pounds Hauser in the head. Bill kicks him, tossing a weapon onto Bill, this time permitting him to shoot Hauser. Just about 90 seconds left in the bomb, Bill and Oskari figure out how to escape from the plane through catapulting in the pilot's seat. As they sent the drop in their seats, Morris, in the helicopter, is before them. Oskari then, at that point, fires a bolt and hits his chest. The bolt pulls the shot, covered inside his chest, into his heart. Morris tumble to his demise and unintentionally shoot a weapon onto the pilot. Without further ado, the bomb goes off. In the meantime, simultaneously in Deer Tracker's camp, the U.S. Naval Force powers the trackers to kept prisoner until the president allegedly alive. A short time later, they seize the drop arrival behind the scenes. It is Oskari trailed by Bill moving at the highest point of the stone. Oskari acquaints the president with his father, and the other trackers perceive the president is in the paper. In the Pentagon, the workers cheering the president's all's salvation. Herbert uncovers that Hauser knew him for quite some time and he is a previous CIA usable. Not to follow back with him, Herbert kills the VP by pushing him in the feet. In any case, before he leaves the bathroom, Herbert places some fluid cleanser in his shoe and in the floor to give the feeling that the VP was slipped on the floor. The film closes with the hunting chief snaps a photo of Oskari and Bill. Oskari's legend of saving the president become known in the press. The paper article of Oskari saved the president are putted in the photo placement in their home. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss my next video. You can suggest movies in comments and I might make a video about them.